Once, there was a city that shone brighter than any in the world. A city of scholars, poets, and dreamers. A place where knowledge was worshipped, and wisdom flowed like the Tigris itself. Baghdad, the heart of the Islamic Golden Age. But in the year 1258, that heart was silenced. An empire that had stood for 5 centuries crumbled in fire and blood. And the river that once carried the ink of knowledge turned black with it. This is not just the story of a city's fall. It is the story of civilization's greatest loss, and the light that refused to die.
Imagine a city where marble streets glowed under oil lamps, where gardens reflected in the gentle waters of the Tigris River, and where libraries overflowed with the collective wisdom of centuries. This wasn't a dream. This was Baghdad in the 13th century, the crown jewel of the Muslim world. Founded in 762 CE, it was more than just a capital. It was the living heart of civilization. This was the home of the House of Wisdom, a place where scholars of every faith gathered to translate and preserve the knowledge of Greece, Persia, and India. Under the Abbasid Caliphs, learning was a form of worship. It was here that algebra was perfected, the stars were mapped, and medicine advanced beyond imagination. Baghdad wasn't just a city, it was the intellectual center of the entire world. But by the mid-1200s, this golden age was dimming. The Caliphate, weakened by corruption and internal strife, was a shadow of its former self. And far to the east, a storm was brewing. A new, merciless power had risen, the Mongol Empire, led by the descendants of the legendary Genghis Khan. They had swept across Asia with a brutality the world had never seen. By 1257, Genghis Khan's grandson, Hulagu Khan, was tasked with subduing the Muslim world. His goal was simple: destroy any power that could challenge Mongol supremacy. He had already crushed the infamous assassins of Al-Mat. Now, he set his sights on Baghdad, the great city of the Abbasids. Hulagu sent a message to the Caliph Al-Mustasim, demanding his surrender. But the Caliph, blinded by arrogance and fatally underestimating the Mongols, refused. His advisors pleaded for diplomacy, but their warnings fell on deaf ears. Some say he dismissed the Mongols as nothing more than a desert tribe. It was an insult Hulagu would not forget. In late 1257, Hulagu's army, nearly 150,000 strong, armed with advanced siege weapons from China and Persia, began its march. In January 1258, the Mongol horde encircled Baghdad. The city's defenses were pitifully weak, with only around 30,000 poorly trained soldiers to defend it. The Mongol siege engines began to roar. Massive stones, fire, and barrels of burning pitch rained down on the city. The skies over Baghdad turned black with smoke. For days, the bombardment was relentless. Inside the walls, panic turned to terror. The Caliph, realizing his mistake too late, tried to negotiate, but Hulagu ignored his pleas. On February 10, 1258, the walls were breached. What followed was not a battle, it was a slaughter. For 7 horrific days and nights, the Mongols unleashed their fury. The magnificent city became a hell on earth. Soldiers rampaged through the streets, killing everyone in their path. Men, women, children, scholars, imams. No one was spared. The grand mosques and palaces of Baghdad were looted and set ablaze. But the greatest tragedy was the destruction of the House of Wisdom, the world's most extensive library. Countless manuscripts, centuries of science, philosophy, and literature were thrown into the Tigris River. Eyewitnesses wrote that the river ran black with the ink of dissolved books and red with the blood of the slaughtered. The water, thick with the wisdom of generations, became a symbol of a civilization's demise. The historian Ibn al-Athir, who lived through this time, wrote, "I wish I had died before witnessing such a catastrophe." What became of the Caliph Al-Mustasim? Hulagu captured him alive, bound by a Mongol custom that forbids shedding royal blood directly on the earth. He ordered the Caliph to be wrapped in a carpet and trampled to death by horses. With his death, the Abbasid Caliphate, the most powerful Islamic dynasty of its time, officially ended. The city of peace had become the city of ashes. The death toll was staggering. Some sources claim nearly 200,000 people were killed, while others say the number was much, much higher. The sound of prayer vanished, replaced by an eerie silence broken only by the crackling of flames. Baghdad, the jewel of Islam, lay in ruins. But here is the incredible irony of history. This cataclysmic destruction was not the end of civilization, it was a transformation. The Mongols, as brutal as they were, eventually embraced the very culture they had sought to destroy. Within a century, many had converted to Islam, rebuilt cities, and even became patrons of learning themselves. The flame that burned Baghdad didn't extinguish knowledge, it scattered it. Scholars who managed to flee carried precious books and ideas with them to Damascus, Cairo, and Samarkand. In these new centers, the legacy of Baghdad was kept alive. The Mongol invasion reshaped the Islamic world forever. Although a symbolic caliphate was re-established in Cairo, Baghdad never truly recovered its former glory. But the conquerors, the Mongols, settled in Persia and established the Ilkhanate, where Islamic art, science, and architecture were reborn in new, vibrant forms. The destroyers had become the custodians. Historians often call the fall of Baghdad the end of the Islamic Golden Age. It was a turning point, a profound loss for humanity. Yet, history teaches us that even in the darkest moments, there is hope for rebirth. The knowledge from Baghdad's libraries had already begun its journey. Translated into Latin, it was carried into Europe, helping to fuel the Renaissance centuries later. The fall of the city, in a tragic twist, became a bridge that allowed the world to inherit the brilliance of Islamic science and philosophy. Today, if you stand in modern Baghdad, among its bustling streets and rebuilt universities, you can still feel the echoes of that ancient tragedy. The Tigris still flows, no longer black with ink, but carrying the memories of what was once humanity's brightest flame. The Mongols tried to erase a civilization, but they failed. They burned a city, but they could not burn knowledge. Because ideas, unlike buildings, cannot be turned to ash. They live on, passed from one mind to another, across generations, waiting for their moment to rise again. This is the story of Baghdad, a testament to the incredible resilience of the human spirit. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more journeys into our incredible shared past. We'll see you in the next one.